Welcome to the Brett Davis Podcast.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. We're having a special podcast today, which we normally do at 7 o'clock in the evening, but this is such a big thing that's coming up in San Diego, and a good friend of mine that I admired for a long time, Dr. Alicia Gwynn, is here with me today.
Thank you.
She's the author, and of course, she's an entrepreneur. One thing I don't see on this resume is musically inclined, singer, creator. She has a Ph.D. in education is it from San Diego State?
No, it's actually from Liberty University.
Okay. Did you go to San Diego State?
I did.
I knew that.
Did my lower division there.
But, we're talking about something today. I mean, I don't believe in accidents. I don't believe in coincidence. I think things happen in God's time. So she has this amazing documentary coming out that she had told me about a while back, and we didn't really talk about it to anybody. But what's the name of the documentary?
It's called Hall of Family.
Okay. So where did this idea come from? And probably a lot of people probably have been telling you for a long time there needed to be a documentary.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that probably a couple of weeks before Tony passed, he gave me some instructions, and he said, listen, I want you to keep the family together. I want you to finish the work. And he said a few more things, but the main thing was, he said, don't let the people forget about me. So I went on, and it was kind of strange because I never heard him say anything like that. And I remember time went on, and then this man that I met, I met him in music, and then he came, Mr. Theron Parker, and he said, listen, you should do something with your husband. And, I said, no, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do anything. And he kept coming back, and he said, listen, it's up to you and your family to keep your husband's legacy alive. Right then, the light bulb went on, and I said, don't let the people forget about me. This was a way. And that's when we started the documentary. Now, Theron thought, oh, it's only going to take 90 days, and he came back to me. He said, once he interviewed some of my family members, he was like, whoa. He said, this is raw and real. I thought I was going to just get the corporate part. And he said, this is going to take a little longer. So here we are. After 2 years, we're done. And it turned out to be it's really great. I'm very proud of it.
And that's saying a lot, because I know you have amazing taste and you're a perfectionist in your own way, even though you may not admit it. Am I wrong?
You're absolutely right. But I was more of a perfectionist watching Tony play and hit, and I was always critiquing his hitting. So I am a perfectionist.
So, we know about Tony Gwynn, of course, probably one of the greatest baseball players that ever lived, but just an amazing family man. People probably know a little bit about that. So that's what this documentary is probably going to dive into.
Yeah, it's going to dive into a lot of things, because he said, I don't want to be known as just a baseball player. I want to be known as a family man. He said, I want to be known as a good husband, a good father, a good confidant. He said, I want to be known that I treated my fans well, and that I was good to my fans. And he said, it's really important, because he said, Alicia, really, my fans were my extended family.
Well, I think you are the glue of everything in the family, and the family is what it is because of you, and the love that you bring, and the realism. And I know, because I had a grandmother, and my grandmother was we were best friends, and she was everything. I mean, she kept everybody in line, and everybody was afraid of her. But then they would also, and my grandmother was an opera singer, by the way.
Oh, wow.
She should have went to Juilliard.
Wow.
Gave up her scholarship because she met my grandfather.
Wow.
Grandmothers are very selfless, but being a mom's been great, right?
Yes.
How's it being a grandmother?
It's even greater. I have to say, I enjoy all 7 of my grandkids. And, there's my granddaughters that are teenagers now, and we have the most perfect time and best time. And not only that, I get to teach them of core family values, and I teach them that, at the end of the day, integrity is all you got. and I teach them to do things the right way, and they love it because they always say, Gigi, you're so funny, and so we have a great time because, I, spend time with them every week because I take them to their soccer practices and, high school, junior high. So, it's really been great. And just having all seven of them the last 2 months, they've got some of them gone back to Maryland, but I had the greatest time, I have to say.
I can't imagine what it's like having Thanksgiving with the Gwynn family, with all the good food, all the love. I mean, that must be quite an experience.
It is. We have so much time. Even when Tony was alive, that was what he was about. Everybody came over, my sisters, my brothers, my nieces, my nephews. I cooked and we just had a great time. We laughed. We talked about old times, and Tony was really all about the family. Even when growing up, my children and the kids that we had in our home, we always had family meetings. He wanted to know what was going on with the kids. We spent time together as a unit. We moved as a unit. And that was important to him because he wanted to make sure that every child in that household was okay, mentally, physically. That was important to him. And, there, of course, there were things that he had to teach the young men. And, they were a little embarrassed sometimes because I remember one day he said, okay, I want to know if y'all are using your Jimmy caps. And everybody they all froze. And he said, come on, I know. He said, I know what you guys are teenagers, you're in that age. So we need to talk about it. And they did.
No, and that's just to make sure. You said Jimmy cap?
That's what he called them, Jimmy caps.
Is that what you call a condom?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure because sometimes I'm out of the loop on things and I have to just clarify. Jimmy cap. Okay. So I don't know what to say after that.
You wanted realism. This is what you're getting, the real.
I think I'm even blushing a little bit. So this documentary, how many is it, an hour-long documentary or?
It is actually 90 minutes. We had about 10 to 12 hours of tape and every bit of it was good. We had to pick and choose, but we wanted to focus on the core of the family. The ones that grew up, the ones that could really tell the story of what Tony was like, growing up in the household with him.
So your relationship, you were married how many years?
35.
Oh my gosh. And nowadays people get married and divorced. Right?
Sometimes don't even stay, it'd be 10 days and we're getting a divorce. No one likes to work at it, anymore. But marriage is an institution, and people have got to learn to work at things, just because you have one argument and you have a blow up, they want to, okay, I want a divorce. No, you work at it. You settle down, you come together and you kind of talk things over, talk things through. Communication is key. When you don't communicate, it's not going to work.
Yeah, because nowadays, most of the newer generation, everything's disposable. You can delete everything.
Yeah, that's great with the technology. And don't get me wrong, because I love technology, but I think it should be a balance. You have to have those social skills. Social skills are very important. In fact, it really helps the mind when you're socially when you're socially going through and dealing with people. You have to have those social skills because it helps you. It really helps the mind when you deal with people socially. And I think you should always talk with people. I think it's important to talk. I think it's important because that's when that your attitude, your behavior, your communication, and your discipline, that's where that comes from. You can't find out when you're doing texting and all this, and in text, what I find out is texts come out the wrong way. You might say something and you don't mean it that way, but somebody might take it the wrong way. That's why it's so important for you to talk to people one-on-one or talk with your group. I think it helps the mind. It balances the mind and keeps you going.
I think you're absolutely right. What is the one thing, because when you did this film, you wanted to convey that about Tony being a family man and maybe how he touched so many different lives. Am I correct?
Yes.
Is there anything that you maybe weren't aware of, or something that came out of this film while you're making it that you're like, wow, never really thought about it that way, or I didn't know about that. Wow.
I think there were a lot of things,
Because you were with him for years,
yes.
but maybe something came out of this, because it's also probably like a form of therapy, but something had to come out of there that just maybe you had light bulb moments and you're like, 'cause I know you're very introspective.
Yeah. I think some of the things that I heard my children say on it was kind of like, wow, okay, I didn't know that was like that. It's like I don't want to give it away, but there are a lot of things that I learned. And you know what? Actually, this doing this documentary really helped me move forward mentally, and I would not be honest with you if I say I don't have my moments. That's the greatest part about living by myself. So when I want to scream and cry, it helps me, and there'll always be that hole in my heart, but learning how to cope is the greatest thing. And so it's soothing when I learned how to cope, mentally, I'm really good because doing this documentary really helped me. And it was like I completed the task that he asked me to do. Don't let the people forget about me. And this is why, this whole documentary, it's about family. And it's about drawing in the families to realize like you still could have a family. Family is important because when no one else is around, your family will always be family. And I tell my granddaughters, I said, she's always going to be your sister. Friends come and go, but she's always going to be your sister. He's always going to be your brother. That will never change. So it's so important that you all will always get along and show that love to each other, because at the end of the day, you'll need each other.
More than they ever know.
That's correct.
So wow, I always get more out of our conversations. That's why I love hanging out with you. I feel like I'm always learning something new all the time. Your energy is always beautiful. Sarah, do we have a clip that we can pop into the? No, we don't have the clip yet. Okay. Well, maybe we can add it at least get it out on video. When's the date of this? When's it coming out?
It is September the 8th. It starts at, I think, 6 p.m. And the first part of it, there will be a Q&A with me, my children, with Ted Leitner. And actually, it's powered by your podcast and Cal Private Bank and Attorney King, L. Smith. These are the people that have really come in and supported this. And it's really been great, just having your podcast, being part of
We
this.
want to have you on the radio show.
Okay.
We want to also, we're going to be putting you on the cover of, what's the name of the new magazine, Sarah?
Simply Local San Diego.
Simply Local San Diego. The very first issue will be coming out in how many weeks? Couple weeks.
We'll put it on that.
So you'll be hearing more about that. So anyway, of course, we want to support what you do because, of course, we love what Tony did, and nobody will forget what he did. But right now, the message in the world is everything that Alicia is talking about, which is love, family, communication, behavior, being aware, being more loving to each other, even though we've come to a point, and I think you probably will connect with this because we're similar. You're way younger than me, of course, but there was a time where we grew up and people could have differences in certain beliefs, but if we went to college together or we worked together, we could still get together and go out to dinner. We go to a movie, we could go to a party, and we would forget about those little indifferences that we had. We wouldn't focus on those things because about 90% of the things we did agree with. And now somehow that's turned where, well, if you don't agree with me on this, I can't be your friend anymore.
And you know what? That's unfortunate because just because someone doesn't agree with me doesn't mean I throw them away or I don't speak to them. Because honestly, when that happens, I guarantee you something that person said can really help you. You just don't want to accept it. And see, that's the part where the communication comes in. When you communicate diligently and when you communicate the right way, that will never happen. Because listen, people say things that I don't like all the time, but I go back and I think about it. You know what? They were correct on that. And then when I see them the next time, I might not tell them because I don't want them to know, but I make sure my actions have received what they said. And I think that's important because, it's not about that because that same person that you throw away, you might need one day. You might need them when you are down and out. And that very same person that you threw away will be the one that pick you up.
Very true. I'm very blessed to have a lot of friends that have been around a long time in my life and a lot of new ones. And I value friendship and I value their opinions and I learn from disagreeing, but I never disrespect their beliefs.
We agree to disagree.
Right. I mean, we got to get back to that. So what else is coming up? Because I mean, I think you have a lot of work coming your way. How's the foundation coming along? What's going to be going on with that?
Well, the foundation is going good. But of course, our foundation is all about character, ABC, and attitude, behavior, communication, and discipline. And see, I always tell people character is when no one is looking. And, we tried that. Tony was he was a stickler on character. That's what he did. And so, we want to, this is why we're having, reaching out to different companies to buy tickets for the underserved. We want to get some buses. Some of those kids have never been to Petco Park before. And we want to get some buses and bring some of the families out so they can enjoy the evening to know that, hey, we believe in your family. And the institution of family is very important. And I'm saying to people, tap into your family, see what's going on with your child. Take some time. It's not about working all the time. Take some time, see what's going on with your child, how they're doing, how they're feeling. So, and let the child see what's going on with mom or dad. Those things are important. When you come together as a unit, things will start falling into place.
Foundation.
Without that foundation, that if that foundation is stable, no matter what you go through, you're going to be all right.
Because people come and go.
Absolutely.
We have a situation going on with sports, probably across the country, but San Diego I'm aware of because I talk to people here. There's a potential where some baseball teams in high school can be pulled and no longer high school's not being able to even afford to have a team, which is kind of crazy to me because the schools have so much money. Of course, I'm not handling their finances, but I can't imagine certain schools in San Diego thinking about closing down their baseball teams. Others organizations or other sports are being considered being put on the chopping block when I just don't understand that. And I've talked to some of the baseball coaches about this and I was shocked because, and for example, we're working here, now we're going to football, which is like Pop Warner. In National City, we were approached by a league over there where a lot of these kids want to play football. And we can get in debate about whether football is good or bad, but that's not what we're talking about. And a lot of these kids want to play sports, like this football team in National City. But Sarah, how much was it per kid to play? $600?
A little under 600, 500 something.
So they can't afford to put to wear the white. I guess they got to buy their uniforms now. It's not like it was before, but it's costing these. Plus, gas prices have gone up, and the family's got to drive these kids to the games. So we worked with the NFL Association maybe 6 months ago and did a little camp for these kids. And that's where I got more of this information, because I got to talk to the kids, because kids don't lie. They're not filtered. Sometimes I wish they would lie, but that's another story. And a lot of them, even there was girls that were playing. They were also cheerleaders and football players, wanted to play, but their family's income would not allow them to play. So now we're trying to figure out how to help this situation. But this seems to be coming up more and more. How do we work around that? How do we find it? Because, I mean, kids need to be in sports, don't they?
Listen, sports, you're talking about a good social atmosphere. It is good for kids to play sports because it is socially driven. They could talk and speak to one another, have fun, learn things about each other, especially when they're different, come from different walks of life. And it's unfortunate that they would do that because, you know what, I feel like, when they took out home economics, all these skills, for kids, things went downhill. I'm teaching my granddaughters how to sew, but when I was in high school, we took home economics. There were so many things for us to do, and now they're taking all these things away. And I think, like, we have all these NFL, we have MLB, we have NHL, all these organizations could get together and have a fund for all these underserved children who cannot afford to play, give them the opportunity to play. This is what the Tony Gwynn legacy does for baseball. All of our kids are underserved and they're on scholarships, and we provide them with scholarships to play that travel ball. We add to some of them, we add to the income because the parents don't have enough to afford. And I think that, we're just small. When you think about all these big NFL, NHL, MLB, all these organizations could afford to have a fund to allow these kids to play. And I think that, somebody need to tap into that to see what they could do, because there are many companies, and I think, you have companies here that would do that, local companies that will help the kids, play, because I don't feel like, I think it would be a sad day that we take away these type of things, even in high school. These kids need this, sometimes, that's what they have to really socialize on the field, or, most of the times, so I really feel like there is a solution. It's not the problem that counts, it's the solution.
And more energy needs to be put in the solution.
Absolutely.
I agree. Well, I'll talk to you more about this, because I don't feel right about it. And I can't just turn my back, because I know what sports did for my life. And had I not had it, I could have ended up getting a lot of trouble.
Absolutely.
A lot of trouble. And it also taught me how to work with varieties of different types of people.
Absolutely.
And is there anything else that you want to add? Because, we could do like a whole,
No, I just want everybody to try to come out to the September the 8th, the Hall of Family documentary, and, go to www.halloffamilymovie.com, and if you want to give us a call, you want to come and don't have tickets, we probably could provide you for tickets, so we want it's about families seeing this, not so much about baseball. God bless Tony with a great career, but this is about family.
What was one of your favorite quotes that Tony said?
You need to read it, because you don't want to hear my quote.
That had to deal with family.
Oh, he said, they asked him the greatest thing about being Tony Gwynn, and he said, my family.
There you go. We look forward to seeing the film.
Thank you for having me.
All the information, of course, is down at the bottom of the screen there, which I can barely see because I need to wear my glasses.
Oh, I can see well.
Of course you can. You're younger than I am. You're not my age yet. Everybody
Even though I'm a little bit older than him.
I want to thank Dr. Alicia Gwynn for being here today. Thank you for being my friend, and thank you for all the joy that you bring the world.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
You're amazing.
Thank you.
And of course, to Attorney King, thank you for always your belief and your faith. We would not have this studio if it wasn't for his belief and faith. Thank you, King, for what you do, of course, and thank you for helping Alicia out with the documentary. I also want to thank Sequan Casino and Resort. Also, we're going to be doing our Teachers Academy Award event the first week of December. And if you're in town, I would love to invite you to come. You can bring a guest.
Absolutely.
And present to some of those wonderful teachers awards for all the challenges and things that they go through. And
they go through.
They do. You know better than anybody else.
Yep.
And of course, Bona Fichetta, the garage in Coronado. They're amazing. Marco, thank you for what you do. And I look forward to working with you on more events. And last but not least, Marina Teal. Thank you for what you do. And thank you for supporting our show. Marina Teal is the owner of IB Fitness. I was going to say IQ Fitness. IB Fitness in Imperial Beach is open 24 hours and works with a lot of military families and getting to work out. And her gym's open 24 hours a day. Wow. There's no excuse not to train. Everybody take care. Be nice to each other. And God bless.